So what we stopped with yesterday was the problems where we were finding or listing off all the zeros and then checking to see which ones we thought could work and then just verifying that they did. But all of these ones had a 1 in front, so we weren't having to test any fractions, but the ones we'll do today, we'll have to test some fractions potentially as well, because there'll be a different number other than just a 1 out front. So let's start with 28. F of x is equal to 3x cubed plus 19x squared plus 4x minus 12. So how do I find all possible?
Plus or minus 12 over 3.
Yep. So then what are my factors of 12?
1.
Plus or minus 1.
Yeah, you don't have to say the plus or minus. We've established that it's plus or minus. You can just say them all. So 1,
4, 6,
2,
12.
3, 4, like smushing all this together, 6 and 12, and then what are the ones for 3?
1 and 3.
So then to list them all out, we list them all out just as they're written up top. Then to go back and do the fraction ones, we're going to have 1/3, 2/3, 3 over 3 is 1, we already have that, 4 over 3, 6 over 3 is 2, we already have that, and 12 over 3 is 4, which we already have. So now, need to graph it. So type this equation in your calculator. And then remember, once you type it in, zoom 6 is how you get it to show up on your graph. And then tell me which ones, once you have your graph, you think we should check.
1.
Huh?
1.
Positive 1?
Yes.
I think 0.5.
Negative 1.
Positive 1.
So we've got to pick a number that we have. So it's either got to be, because the 1, obviously, y'all can tell it looks like a fraction of some sort. So it's before 1. So it's got to be either 1/3 or 2/3. So it might be a situation where you end up having to check both if you start with that one, or if you go do that one last, then you might not have to. But what other one is very obvious what it would be? -6. And then what do we think? 1/3, 2/3, 2/3. And we might just note over here 1/3, we might want to check if 2/3 doesn't work. Okay, because sometimes, like I've had as many as like 20 of these listed here before. And sometimes like you'll have like 5/8 and 3/4, and you're like, which one is it? So sometimes it's really hard to tell which one it is, and so you might end up having to check some. So we'll just note that 1/3's kind of like maybe, but we think it's probably 2/3. If you think it's 1/3, you can write 1/3 down. I don't care. But so let's start with the whole numbers. They're the easiest to work with. So I'm going to start with -1. So -1, and then 3, 19, 4, -12. Bring down the 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, minus 19 is 16, times negative 1, so it's negative 16, plus 4, negative 12, times negative 1 is 12, minus 12 is 0, so negative 1 worked. Now, like I said, you can keep working down. You can use your original numbers every time. Doesn't really matter. But I like to just use the simplified version. It makes life easier. So 3, 16, negative 12. Bring down the 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. Plus 16 is negative 2. Times negative 6 is positive 12. And that gives us a 0 there. So then 2/3. Shift 3 and negative 2. Bring down the 3. 3 times 2/3 is 2. Minus 2 is 0. So it was in fact 2/3. So all of these ones did work. All right, I'm going to have you try this. Yeah, I'm going to have you try the next one on your own. 30. And then we'll go over it. G of x is equal to 2x to the 4th plus 9x cubed plus 5x squared plus 3x minus 4. And remember, the max we could have on this one is 4. Okay, different zeros that work. But you don't have to have 4. That's just the absolute max you can have. we found which ones work yet. If we need another minute, that's fine. I was wondering. All right, which ones do we think work? Or did we test them and find out that they do?
-4 and 1/2.
-4 and 1/2. Anybody agree with her? Is that all of them? Okay. Yep. So we found all the zeros. We had 1, 2, 4, and 1/2. It looked like -4 and 1/2 were options to try, and so those all worked. So yeah. So any questions on this stuff? You feel okay about it? All right. So then, in addition to what you had yesterday, 27 and 33, that'll be one that ones that potentially produce fractions for you. That could work. So, we'll do that today. Probably the next section, probably 2 days. So, probably won't quiz till either Monday or Tuesday next week on that stuff.